Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I appreciate you all for being here. It is Tuesday, the day after Labor Day. We are so blessed to have woken up today. God gave us another chance to be better today than we were yesterday. So let's make sure that we are a blessing to somebody other than ourselves and to those that are close to us. Um, I'm driving, so I won't be able to respond to anything that comes through, but I appreciate you all. I love you all. Um, and I'm just here. Um, there's a whole lot of things swirling through my head, and I think the main reason I want to talk about this is because of the death of Fat Man Scoop. And this isn't going to be necessarily a lecture, just some information that I think is very interesting that I think should be talked about. And my thoughts about this also stemmed from Brother Kush, who has a channel called the_Black Alpha. And he puts out a lot of different information and perspective that I can appreciate. Do I agree with everything that everybody puts out? No, but I like the way that he formulates his thoughts. He gathers the information and he puts it out there. And he put a community tab up. I love reading his community posts because they're lengthy and just full of information and perspective. Whether I agree with it or not, it just oftentimes it's enlightening, right? So anyways, he was stating that he wants to talk about the psychological mindset of modern Pookie, right? And in the comment, I asked if he was going to touch on the DSM-5's definition of antisocial, because I believe that not just Pookie, but women as well um, suffer from antisocial personality disorder. And antisocial is not necessarily, oh, I don't feel like going out. Oh, I don't want to be bothered with anybody today. Oh, I'm going to screen my calls. I don't like people. No, it goes a little bit deeper than that, actually, a lot a bit deeper than that. And it talks about people that have a problem with authority, people that have no issue hurting another person without the regard to their life or anybody else's life, just the thought process of somebody who is antisocial. And so I think that issue plagues our community the most. Along with that, I believe there is a specific cause for that. And I've said it before, and I'll keep saying it until we start realizing that this is really a problem. And it's fast food. I believe that one of the reasons for so much femicide, why the Pookie, if you will, is committing so much femicide, is in due part to fast food, eating out a lot. I have a son who is 9 years old, and I can tell a stark difference between when he's eaten a lot of junk versus when he does not eat a lot of junk. He's irrational. Um, he jumps to conclusions. Um, he's way more hyper, you know? So I do believe that fast food is a big contributor to the antisocial behavior of Black people. I was looking at a news article earlier today where it talked about um, racial, what do they call it? Race calculators that these doctors are using. So there's race calculators where they notice that only a specific group of people, and when they say race calculators, they're really just meaning Black people, right? but there are certain conditions that are just prevy and heavily um, in our communities only when it comes to, say, diabetes and certain psychological issues. So what happens is when these clinicians and these physicians use these race calculators, they negate all of the symptoms that come along with these diseases and disabilities, because it's just a Black person that has it. This is quote unquote normal in their community, so it could be overlooked. But what's happening is that children are not getting treated properly because they fit into this race calculator where certain conditions are just prone to us, or more so prone to us, that they just cast it off as if, well, this is part of their genetic makeup, when that's not the case at all. People are going without organ transplants and bone marrow transplants and things of that nature because of these race calculations. And this happened to me. I had a low white blood count for several months, and I was also feeling a particular kind of way. And I mentioned it to one of my doctors, and she said, more than likely it's nothing, because most Black people, not most Black people, but that is something that is typical in Blacks, that low white blood count. It doesn't affect you in any way, you know? And I got to thinking about that, and and I felt some kind of way, because I'm like, well, the way that my body feels along with these test results is telling me something different. If a Black person's normal ranges are lower than what they say the normal ranges are, I think that is something that should be looked into. And so the article that I had read was a Black woman who's starting to put this out there because she's Black, her kids are Black, and she's wondering to herself, hold on now, does this mean that if my kids have issues and they go into the doctor, are they going to be overlooked because they fit into this race calculator? Yes, ma'am, they will. Just because they are Black, they overlook certain things. That's just like in the military, how a lot of us have the sickle cell gene, the sickle cell trait, and it's like, okay, you have it, but there's usually no studies that go along with that. At least they still accept Black people that come in that have the trait, but there's usually nothing else done about that, And so I think it's very important to look at that. But back to the fast food, what I really wanted to hit on was the fast food. Fast food is just, it's slowly killing our society, and it's showing up in more ways than we can ever imagine. And I bet if you took all of the offenders for violent crimes that are Black under the age of 30, and you did a study just on their diet alone, you will find that a lot of them consume the same type of crap. Because when you take in all of those foods with those preservatives and those dyes and a whole bunch of words that you can't even pronounce, it's taking up space in your body and your cell, and all of the bad bacteria and germs in there is overpowering all of the good. So if you have a double cheeseburger from wherever, and you have a sliver of lettuce and 2 tomatoes, your body is not even going to be able to absorb the nutrients, the vitamins and the minerals from the lettuce and the tomato, because of all the other crap that is inundated by. So there was a guy, a YouTuber who's really, really popular, and this nigga put himself out there. And I think when you put yourself out there that bad, he is really trying to reach the people. He admitted to living with erectile dysfunction. Young man. Now that I'm older, I look at him as young because I still feel young, even though sometimes I feel old, right? But I'm in my 40s. This guy has to be in his 40s, maybe early 30s if he looks good for his age. But he's on here telling men that he's living with erectile dysfunction because of all of the videos that he's done while eating food. These mukbangs are killing us. And he put himself out there to let y'all know. Now, I'm going to be completely honest and transparent. I have been with some guys younger than me back in the day that had some issues. And I was shocked because on the outside, they looked healthy. But when it came to their diets, drinking, smoking, eating whatever you want, they suffered from certain things, right? I don't think you guys want to get to that point to where you say, hey, let me do something. But unfortunately, the way the body is made, it will show you different signs and symptoms that what you put in your body is unhealthy. And unfortunately, for women, it'll come in the form of smelling bad. It'll come in the form of drying up. It'll come in the form of low libido, things like that. So we have to be careful of the things that we eat because it's going to affect our lives and how we conduct ourselves, right? These mukbangs, there's a lady that I watch, and because I've been watching her, I went out and bought some food knowing I didn't need to have it, right? But everything in her food, the presentation is just class A all the way. She sits in her car, she has these trays, and the way she has things set up is so colorful, it's vibrant, it's juicy, it's looks appetizing. And so she'll get you on there thinking that everything that she's presenting tastes good and it's going to make you feel good. But at the end of the day, that's not the case at all, right? She did a mukbang in her video, and the only reason I watch her, not only is the food presentation superb, but the messages that she talks about are on it. And she's funny as hell. So not only is she funny, but she also brings a word, and she always has this food that just looks absolutely delectable. And so I watch her. But she did a video with lobster tails, and not just the little small lobster tails that you get at the grocery store. I'm talking about those big giant ones, she's in Houston, and she had the Alaskan king crab, not just the regular king crab, but the Alaskan things were this big. And she pulled that meat out, she dipped it in that damn hot butter garlic sauce. And the way she would eat it, it was like, are you tasting the food? And this is the thing too, people with big backs, you can't necessarily trust their judgment when it comes to food, because I feel like a lot of it is more mental, and it's just the thought of eating the food, not necessarily the taste all the time. Because I've literally gone off of a big back person's suggestion of a restaurant a couple times, and the food was absolutely garbage, and I couldn't believe it. I said, you said that food was good. That food was absolutely disgusting. What? Did you go there with? Yeah, I did. And it was nasty, and I'll never go again. Another case in point, there was a potluck. Most of the people at this potluck were not. Now, there are some people out there without melanin that do know how to cook, but I have not come across that many. So at this potluck, you had an array of dishes, right? And then you got the brother that comes in who is huge. He comes in, he sits down, he goes, gets up, sees the food. He's grabbing something of everything, and his plate is overloaded. Mind you, me and my son got two things, the thing that I brought, and some rolls. Everything else we didn't touch. Okay. This dude had I think it was potato salad, the green bean casserole, the what it, bruh. And he was over there grubbing like the food was on point. I said, you can't trust big backs. You can't trust them because sometimes they'll just eat anything. They're just satisfying that void, whatever it is that they're missing. They're just satisfying it with food and not necessarily enjoying the taste of what it is that they're eating. But Fat Man Scoop did series of videos talking about his health, warning, other Black men. And it's really, really unfortunate to see my brothers dying as early as 45, 53, 62. Like, that is super, super early, super, super unfortunate. I don't like it. And at the end of the day, we got to do better. We cannot depend on doctors. We cannot depend on these race calculators, because as you see, these things are put into place for a reason. And it is for us to suffer and not get the treatment that we so righteously deserve, So there's things that I have to cut out as well. I'm working on that, I'm not above anything. I've done it all. I've been a glutton, It even talks about that in the Bible. You know what I'm saying? Gluttony literally is a sin. Mistreating our temple is literally a sin. But people don't look at it that way, because it's like, if you work hard, you get to work on time, you serve your country, you serve society, you're a productive member of society, you raise your kids, you're a good spouse, you're a good baby daddy, you're a good baby mama, you feel like you deserve to put whatever you want in your body, you deserve to watch whatever it is you want, when that's not necessarily true. Now, everybody has free will, and you have the choices to do whatever it is that you want, and you have a right to do whatever it is that makes you feel happy. But it's not always necessarily what's best for you. And if it hasn't caught up to you yet, it will eventually. And your body will always show you signs that what you're doing is not necessarily right for you. It's a tough reality, especially the older you get. But now you got kids passing out on the football field, kids passing out playing soccer, kids dying at basic training, and all kind of stuff happening, because of the things that they're consuming and being overlooked by certain things when they do go to the doctor, because we've been put in this bubble, So my plea today is that we just get it together and that we just do better. Let's just do better. I'm gonna vow to try. I'm gonna vow to do better from now on, especially with my vaping. Because I can't be telling people do better, do right, yet I still want to do what I want to do. My biggest issue is that because I'm no longer drinking, I'm no longer sexting, I feel like I have a right to have this vice. And slowly but surely, God is going to show me. I don't want it to get to the point where God takes his hands away from me and just says, okay, whatever will happen, will happen. I have to get it together now. So that's something that I have to start working on for me, so that I could be around to see my son have kids and his kids have kids, God willing, but at the end of the day, may God's will be done, whatever that is. But anyways, that's all. I have a meeting to go to and some other stuff on my docket for today. I wish you guys all the best. Stay blessed and be a blessing to others.